Come on! Hey guys, Chris Hornacek here, and we're going to do things a little bit differently today. I do not have a guest on this one. This one's just going to be a solo little update from me. I feel like I've been a little bit more absent on social platforms these last couple of weeks, and we'll kind of explain why, but I wanted to kind of give just a little insight into like what's been going on with me during quarantine and stuff like that. I think some of you have gleaned a lot of that from, the podcast that I've put out, or some content if you've, come in and stuff like that. But this is just going to serve as like a wrap up, encompass all like what's going on and kind of where I'm going with all of this madness going on in the world. So we're calling this the September update. I don't know if I'll do these monthly or anything like that. But truly, like, things just have gotten so busy, and I'm not going to be able to put out a fully produced episode this week. And so I thought this would be a good way to do that, and we'll kind of catch up and get back to our regular deal next week. I promise I'll keep this one a little bit shorter and briefer than most, especially because, it's just me talking. But I think that it'll be fun for kind of everyone here. It'll be a little bit cathartic for me, and hopefully you guys kind of know a little bit more about what's going on in my life. So I've alluded to this on the other podcast, but like the main goal throughout quarantine has been figuring out like what am I doing with my life now that I'm not competing. I've very much bought into the personal story that like I am the guy that travels and competes in spikeball tournaments, and he does it more than anybody else, and he does it at a very high level, and that's who Chris Hornacek is. Well, that all went away with COVID, and so it's like, all right, what am I going to do now? And so I've leaned into content creation, which I've always wanted to do, but here's why it was hard for me to kind of get going. In all honesty, like, I like the idea of creating content more than I think I actually enjoy creating it. I have a million ideas. I have a lot of good stuff that I think I want to share. And I've got, I don't know, just tons of ideas, and I like being expressive. But like, I hate editing. I hate, all the monotony of like posting it here and doing, hitting all the right buttons and optimizing it for this. All that's kind of tough. And I find that so much more frustrating, especially when I don't feel like I have the time to do it. And when I'm traveling as much as I am, I'm home for like 3 or 4 days, sometimes less. Sometimes I don't even come home. And I don't want to spend that time like only editing videos. Like I want to be working on my own stuff and like having my own personal life. And so it's been a little bit easier right now without the competing to kind of learn how all of these things work and get a process going and find something that I think is going to be manageable going forward, and find some good people to work with in order to help make that happen and pick up where I don't add as much value. So with the content creation, I've kind of expanded to a couple of new platforms, those platforms being YouTube, where I'm uploading the podcast, obviously, and I'm experimenting with some Roundnet solutions stuff. Not really like how-to videos like HTR's doing, but just some like ideas to optimize how you practice. Little tips and tricks maybe thrown in there as well. I'm kind of playing with the platform, but I like the idea of making like, some 10-minute-ish type of videos that, you get something out of and you walk away with something tangible that is going to make it better for you as a competitive player. Then the podcast, obviously, has been the big one. Starting this has been great. Everyone seems to be enjoying it, which I'm thankful for. Really, especially like I was afraid to be putting them out so long, but people seem to really like that. That's how I like my podcasts. I've got some short ones that I listen to, but all my favorite ones are really long. I love Joe Rogan Experience. I love Pete Holmes's podcast. He's a comedian and his is called You Made It Weird, and all of their episodes are 2 hours. So I'm trying to stick to like an hour or two. I keep drifting over that 2-hour mark. We're gonna try and contain it a little bit and keep it there. But I like just having conversations with people, and I feel like I just want the conversations to end naturally when they end, and with not traveling as much and seeing people, like I just have a lot to talk to with them. And, I like getting people's opinions, especially now when the community is really talking about a million different things that we think could, improve things. Everyone's kind of in the boat where I am, where they're not competing as much or at all. and we're looking for some solutions, and we're looking to grow the community. And while some of that's been a little divisive, it's overwhelmingly been positive, which has been good. So I just want to get everyone's opinion on that, and I want to share mine as well. I want to shape the future of this sport. I love this thing. I want to give back as much as the sport's given to me, and I think that's an interesting, platform to do that on with the podcast, at least. The other one I've expanded into is TikTok. Yes, this. God, I mean, you guys probably all think I'm a boomer. I'm like the oldest in the community, and the beard's not helping my cause. I definitely look like I'm 30 at this point, if not 35. But I'm 28, which makes me a millennial. But I'm hopping on the Gen Z trend with TikTok, and let me tell you, this app's fun. It's frustrating because I don't really understand it. I want it to work like Instagram. I want it to work like YouTube. I want it to work like platforms I understand better, and it just doesn't work that way. It's also weird because like your views are so inconsistent. Like on Instagram and stuff like that, if you have X followers, probably X% like your post, X% watch your story, and that varies between some people. But like mine have been pretty consistent. Like I know what my reach is, and so I know what I can put out there in order to accomplish what I want to accomplish. On TikTok, I've got a couple that have like a couple thousand. I had a couple that only had like 100 views on it, and then I released my last one, which is like a funny, stupid one about missing your serve, and I got like 250,000 views. Or no, I think 215, but it's still growing like every single day. And that's now had residual effects on people going to my videos and watching some other ones, which has helped the performance of those. But yeah, TikTok's just an interesting place. I want to play with a fun app. Like Instagram is fun. It's mostly where I connect with people in like a passive DM type of space. So Instagram will always be my favorite for that. It's the one that the community's largely adopted for all the things like video and pictures and stuff like that. It seems like Facebook is where we talk. Instagram is where we all talk with like each other, and then there's YouTube videos and matches and stuff like that, but that's all kind of separate. We don't really congregate on there. So with TikTok, I'm kind of using it as a discoverability platform to kind of introduce some new people to the competitive world of spikeball through someone who's a professional at it. So I'm taking that angle and kind of just trying to grow the community a little bit and get some new eyes on our sport, on me, etc. And just, having a little bit more fun with it. Like it's so loosey-goosey. It's so because it's such the like Wild West, like there are no rules, and half the time something works and half the time something works for no good reason. So you're incentivized to just like have fun with the app. So that's been what I'm doing on TikTok. You can go follow me on all those platforms. If you search chornspikes, you will find me. And then we've obviously revitalized the YouTube, and I am kind of reorganizing what I do with Twitch. Twitch was, my favorite, live streaming platform before, and I did a lot of like recaps and previews of tournaments and kind of sharing my experience on the road. Well, with COVID, I haven't been able to do any of that, so I've been kind of thinking like, what do I do with this? Like, I want to connect with people. I love that live thing. I love like a live chat that I get to interact with, and I want to interact with other people on there too. So like I've been, recording the podcast through Twitch, obviously. But the main platforms there are going to be, YouTube and, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So Twitch is just kind of allowing me to make the YouTube video a little bit easier more than anything. So I'm like, what do I do with the Twitch now that I'm like not covering tournaments? Like I also kind of don't want to cover some of the like other tournaments that are going on right now. One, because, I'm watching here and there when I think I need to watch something, but I'm largely staying out of it. It makes me kind of sad to not be going to things and watch other people play, if I'm really being honest. Like, I wouldn't say I'm jealous, because I wouldn't. It's not like, oh, if only I could do that. Like, I could make that decision, but I'm not. I don't think it's practical or safe right now. I'm encouraging people to not. And so with that, the other reason I don't want to cover it is because like I don't want to draw attention to it. I don't want other people to feel like they should be encouraged to be doing this. I'm not openly judging everyone that's doing it or anything like that. I think some people are doing this more responsibly than others, and I think there's a time and place to be competing in your local area or like practicing in your local area like I am. But I think these big national tournaments that are attracting people flying from all over the country are just a bad idea. So with not being able to do that, I'm like, all right, what do I do with Twitch? Like, how do I start interacting with people? And so I'm still kind of working on that, but I'm trying to also kind of use it like TikTok and just like have a little bit more fun with it and be a little bit more spontaneous. Now the thing with TikTok is, you post something and people either watch it or they don't. With Twitch, you kind of need to let people know what's going on, otherwise they don't tune in live because they don't know it's happening. Um, and you can't just like post like a minute before and then have everyone come over. You'll get some viewers like that, but you kind of have to have a schedule, and my schedule is all over the place. Um, One, because I'm still settling into like what does my life look like. Two, I'm trying to find a good like work life balance and not just like sit on my computer all day. Like I want to still be working out and training and having as much of a life as I can, even with quarantine, and enjoying time with Kathy and my family, and the family that I can see safely. Trying to use this as an excuse to at least connect better with them since I'm not traveling. Like I think I miss almost 90% of family functions during the months of competition. Like I'm obviously around for Thanksgiving, I'm obviously around for Christmas, those kind of things when we're not in season. But I miss all the birthday parties because they're hosted on Saturday. I miss all the little barbecues. I miss 4th of July half the time, like because there's some other tournament going on, even if Spikeball doesn't put one on there. Um, so I'm kind of leaning into, seeing my family a little bit more during this time too. So there's just a lot of newness, and I'm figuring it out. And then to boot with it, I just got a new puppy, and he's in my lap right now, taking a little snooze. I'll kind of carefully hold him up. I don't want to wake him up. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see him. He's a little dachshund, and his name, we finally named him, is Sherman. And Sherman, our reference here is actually one of it's probably Kathy and I's favorite show together, at least, is Gilmore Girls. And yes, I do mean it. Gilmore Girls is phenomenal. If you have some preconceived notion about this being a chick flick, it is not. I know it was on the WB, and it was aimed at teen girls, sold via ads like that. Like, this is not a teen show. It's so good. The first time I watched it, I like cried through it. It's so good. Um, I just absolutely love it. And the writer and creator, or like head writer and the creator of the show, her name is Amy Sherman Palladino. You guys might also recognize her name from Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. If you didn't know her from Gilmore Girls, that's her her last big hit. She also created and wrote that one. She's like the head writer. She doesn't really give up a lot of writing parts to other people. So she's like one of my favorite creators ever. I love Maisel as well. That's also one of Kathy's favorite shows. So that was a name that we could just both agree on, like a subtle reference to that. Still giving him a boy name, and it's kind of a cute, like he's a cute little dog and he's new, but he's got an old guy name, and I think it's so cute. He sounds like a president, Uh, so it's our little boy Sherman. And this is my first puppy, so I've never been able to have a dog or cat before this. My dad was very allergic. My mom was scared of dogs because she got bit when she was younger. Luckily, this guy's so little that she just is not even worried about him at all. She's already met him. But we weren't able to have a dog growing up, and I always wanted one. So I'm so excited that I finally get to do the puppy thing. Charlie came into our lives about a year ago. He was Kathy's dog from years ago, but for a while he lived with her parents because she was always working. And now that she's full-time at home, we brought the dog here. We couldn't bring him home because even though I was home a lot, like I was traveling, and so there'd just be too many hours that we were away from home. So he was with her parents, and now we have him. So now we've got two dogs here, and that's been a whole thing of introducing them. And Charlie's a little jealous, but we're potty training and crate training and getting to know him and playing with him, and he can't be left alone for long, if at all. We basically get work done when he naps. So yeah, the schedule's just been wild. But Kathy and I are really kind of coming together to figure out like when are good times for us to be able to do stuff. Like we have to be able to have time that's just ours to get work done. Like she has a huge business that she's running. I've got my content creation I'm trying to get off the ground. Like, it takes time. Um, so we're getting a lot more organized with our time right now. And as a part of that, I'm going to be coming out with kind of a more reliable Twitch schedule. It won't be like reliable week to week, but it's going to be something that I post regularly on Instagram, probably share in the SRA group as long as it doesn't get too spammy. I never want to spam in there, but I want to let people know what's going on. Like, that's how a lot of people stay connected with the content going on. And some of this too is also going to be less Roundnet related and more community oriented. And so if it's not Spikeball related, it's tougher to post about it. But if I'm posting a schedule, I can kind of let you know the cool stuff that's going on. So yeah, so one thing that I'm going to be doing is actually leaning into the gaming side of Twitch. It's more the like, I want to hang out with people and compete with people, even though I can't do that through the scene right now. And so what I want to do is just like every week, one night for like 2, maybe 3 hours, just get some ballers together and game. And I want to be able to do that with, people in chat, especially, if you sub, you obviously get priority, or just like, connect with other people that play whatever game I'm playing. And I don't really want to get into specifically one game or another. Kind of just want to play around and like have fun with it. Like, I haven't had fun gaming in forever. Like, I feel like I gamed a lot and like massed, games like Borderlands, which was like my favorite game ever, before I got into Roundnet. But then I was traveling so much that I was like, I can't put in enough time, so I don't want to. But like, I just want to like play some competitive games. So I think next week we're going to be doing some Halo Master Chief Collection. Guests to be announced on that soon, but they're people that you're going to want to see. So we're going to try and squad up and just hang out and talk and interact with the community and chat. So if you're interested in that, it's probably going to be Tuesday night at 7 to 9 or 7 to 10 Central. So look forward to that. So that's one angle I'm taking with Twitch. The other thing is I've done it a couple times, but I'm going to do office hours. I think I'm going to try and do them once a week. And just do like an hour, 2 hours where I go live at a scheduled time, and whoever shows up can just ask questions. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see I've moved my entire streaming setup down to the basement. That's because the puppy can be down here. We have hardwood throughout the entire house except for the tile in the kitchen, and down here we have like some really, really shitty laminate or something like that. So these are the only places where the dog can go and pee and not ruin the wood forever and make our house smell like pee forever. So this is where I'm going to be working now, and I can put him in a little pen area, and I can work out down here with him kind of running around and keep an eye on him. But so I'll set up down here where I practice, and during these office hours, basically, you can come in, ask a question, and I will try to answer to the best of my ability. And we have the ability to do like full demonstrations here. So you want tips on a cut serve? This isn't just like me sitting in front of a camera, like audio telling you what to do. Like, we can actually demonstrate that like with a net. You want to talk about like theory on flick shots. You want to talk about defensive positioning. Like, I've got the lines drawn out down here. It's a whole thing. So, it's kind of a makeshift setup down here. And, we all have those because of quarantine. But I think that would be fun. I just want to deliver some value to people and get people, practicing, and encourage people to be doing that and improving during this time. I know I'm working on things. So, yeah, just any questions that you have with stuff, theory, practice, drills, any of that stuff. Office hours would be a perfect place to do that. You can also just stop in and, other people are going to ask questions too, and people learn from that as well. I've gotten, some good feedback on that when I've done it in the past. So those will probably be like during the day. But, feel free to, stop by and do that stuff as well. And then I'm going to live stream some fun stuff. Like, I'm going to introduce my little boy Sherman here to Roundnet. And I think that you guys should get to watch when he does that too. I'll just like play around now with my puppy down here. It'll be really cute. Probably turn it into a YouTube video. Those kind of things. I'm going to have fun with it. And if there's anything else that you like want to see, please let me know. I'm trying to stream like 2 or 3 times a week. A lot of it's going to be during the day because once he goes to sleep at night, we all have to be very quiet so that we properly train him to sleep through the night. So, and my sleep schedule is like a disaster because we wake up every 2 hours with him to take him out because we don't want him to be peeing and pooping in his crate or uh, having accidents in the house. So we're trying to potty train him. So you got to take him outside like relentlessly to make sure that he gets to an opportunity to learn to do that in the grass. Um, so I'm tired. I'm gonna be real with you. It's just one of those things, especially because I'm someone that like I really like my sleep, and I like uninterrupted sleep. I like getting my 8 to 10 hours, and boy, am I not getting that. On a good night at this point, I'm getting like 7 broken up, and on the bad nights, I'm getting 4. And this is all very new to me. It's kind of a lot. So uh, on the content creation side too, I've had some people kind of ask me like what they can do to help and stuff like that, and to help support the content creation itself. And I'm monetizing everything through a couple of things that are just going to deliver value to you specifically. So one, I'm monetizing it largely through Amazon at this point. I know everyone here's got Amazon. Amazon's been amazing during this pandemic, and the fact that they're still delivering everything 2 days right now is just so great. I've really come to appreciate everything there. And so basically, I'm monetizing everything through Amazon through an Amazon store that I have, what I call the Chorn store. You can find that at amazon.com/shop/chornspikes. And basically, what that store is it's my personal store that I set up of Amazon products that I find useful in my life and in Roundnet. And so it's specifically kind of Roundnet solutions for the Roundnet athlete, for someone that's taking this a little bit more seriously. And I'm exploring a lot of that right now. Like you guys might have seen on YouTube, I posted about the future of streaming with these wireless microphones. Those are super great, and I recommend them for everyone. Like miking up the net is a huge way to improve the content that you're creating yourself. Even your own personal recordings, it's just a no-brainer to attach this to your phone and put it under the net. So really, if you want to replicate what I'm doing with that, I've got a whole thing that says like mobile streaming setup, and you can see all the stuff that I'm using, and you can kind of pick and choose what works for you. And when you buy that, a percentage of that like goes to me. Amazon gives me, depending on what you buy, it's somewhere between 1 and 10% of the cost of that item, and that goes to me. And so I'm not looking for this to be like a massive moneymaker or anything, but it is one of those things I can just organize all my thoughts on these great solutions and answering the questions that people ask me all the time. Like one of them that I get all the time is like, what supplements do you take? Like I know you work out a lot. I know that you are, training, and I know that you have a lot of demands put on your body from competing as much as you do. Like what are you taking to like supplement your life? So I've got like a whole section that's just like supplement your success. And you can go and see all the stuff that I'm taking, which really has been one of those things that adding during quarantine has made a massive difference in my life as well. I've been kind of fiddling with a bunch of stuff, but I really got a recipe down right now, and I love it. I have this every single morning. That's a blender bottle full of athletic greens, which is like a greens powder. It gets me all my micros, so I don't have to worry about like eating a ton of broccoli and kale and this and that. I just don't have to worry about that as much. I'm going to get my micros in, and I can focus more on getting my macros like protein, carbs, fats, and not have to worry about the quality of my calories as much. Obviously, I'm trying to eat like relatively clean, but I'm also trying to eat a lot. So this just kind of is like no brainer. It's got overall health benefits. Like, I mean, there's a million things that it's good with. So, look into that. It's a little more on the pricey side, but it's just so worth it. Especially like I have like travel packs too. So like while I'm traveling, I can take it there as well. And it's just like consistent health that you're always getting. And I love it. The other one that I've been taking is, what's it called? Oh yes. Liquid IV. So liquid IV, you just like throw this in water. It's like a powder, and it's a hydration extender or a hydration multiplier, I think is the term that they use. So basically, when I drink like one of these, they say it feels like you're drinking 3 of these, and I can confirm it's just true. I had been so dehydrated with being home all the time and drinking coffee, and I drink one of these every single morning now. I throw it in with my athletic greens. If you get the lemon lime flavor, they're so good together. It's wild. So I do that, and then I take all my supplements with it. But I'm telling you, this stuff is great, and it's going to be my secret weapon at tournaments when I come back. Like constantly hydrating like this all the time and hydrating well is the way to prevent having dehydration problems while you compete. And you bet your ass I'm going to be adding another one of these in like after pool play to, get ready for bracket. I am going to be trying to curb dehydration a lot. I've had a lot of problems with that. I've been very vocal about that. I've had whole tournaments that I like basically am blacking out and like don't remember from being dehydrated. I've been throwing up like crazy. I can't believe I haven't gone to the hospital. We've seen what happens to Zach Vance when you don't do that. Please hydrate. It's so good. So yeah, so if you want to, look at those, you can order them through Amazon, which is amazing. And you save a little bit if you subscribe. I subscribe to the Athletic Green, so I'm getting that every single month because I'm taking it every single day. And same thing with the liquid IV. And then I'm also taking, some just simple things like a fish oil because that's just good for general health. Vitamin D, really good for a lot of reasons. One, if you're inside a little bit more than you should be, especially during these times, probably not getting it from the sun. Most people are vitamin D deficient, and especially because I struggle with my own mental health issues with depression and anxiety. When you're vitamin D deficient, that's not great for you either. That's like a leading cause of why seasonal depression happens, or it's something that you can kind of control at least. So vitamin D been huge for me, especially during this. Like I've had a lot of anxiety and depression with having to change my life entirely right now. And luckily, I think I'm on the other side of that, at least for the meantime. Like it's something that'll be a part of my life probably forever. But I'm feeling a lot better than I did at the beginning of quarantine, especially now that I've kind of figured out where we're going, what the goal is, and because I've got my little puppy here. Yeah, you did that, Sherman. You make me so happy. Those are some things. Oh, and then I'm also taking a joint health supplement. One, I'm terrified of tearing my ACL like Max did, and I just want to strengthen those as much as possible. I'm a pretty achy guy. I'm on the older end, as you guys know, in terms of competitors. And you see what happens when you got like Skylar, who's completely fallen apart. And I've got a lot of pre-existing injuries that have given me joint and health problems, some of them major. Like I broke my left finger and I've lost a lot of mobility in it, so I'm getting arthritis in it. I broke my right wrist, which is my hitting hand, which is very important. I've got limited mobility in that, and I'm starting to really feel arthritis from that. Basically, I'll have to fuse my wrist at some point, but I'm going to try and fight that for as long as I possibly can. And this supplement's got a bunch of stuff in it. And I think it's got like calcium and some, I don't really know. It's a bunch of stuff, but the main ingredient is glucosamine, which I've heard isn't like fully proven, but there's some pretty good trial evidence that it can prevent arthritis from getting worse. So I'm doing that as well, and I've been doing this now for like 3 months, and I can already feel a big difference. I'm also stretching a lot more, and I'm taking care of my body, and I'm putting less strain on it because I'm not competing, but I'm working out a lot, so it's been feeling good. And then I'm also doing protein powder and creatine after all my workouts. I for sure have to do that because another thing I wanted to share with you guys that I don't even know that I've shared, but during this quarantine, I was not trying to at all, but I just lost 13 pounds. I'm pretty open about my weight and stuff like that. I was like 195 at the beginning of quarantine, and not a great 195. The winter was pretty rough on me with seasonal depression especially, so I wasn't moving as much as I should have. I wasn't training as much as I should have. I lost some muscle mass. I was less active, so it wasn't a great 195. But weight's just such a like dumb thing. Like if you're asking like what weight you should be aiming for as a Roundnet player, like the answer is like you just need to feel good. I did some like crazy bulk and like lifted really heavy and felt really good in 2017 at 211 pounds, and then I cut for like 8 weeks or 12 weeks after the season. I forget, it was a long time. And I got down to 183 and looked shredded and had like no body fat. I mean, I went way too far. Like, don't do that. It's not worth it. I wanted to do it for me because I wanted to just see a very clear six pack on me for the first time ever. But I felt great at 183. So if I can feel good at 211 and 183, and I'm just under 6'2", the weight doesn't matter. You just want to know how you're carrying it. So I went from like 195 to like 182, which is like really on the low end. I probably don't want to be that low unless I was like, cutting and like had a bunch of muscle on me, but I just lost a lot of muscle mass from not competing as much and from, less frequent workouts and not going to the gym and being able to lift as heavy. I'm fortunate enough that we have these Bowflex adjustable weights. So they're dumbbells and you can take them from 5 pounds to 52 pounds each. So that's been huge. But, when you're deadlifting, 200 pounds, you can't replicate that here. I can only get those to go up to 105. So, been having to get creative with all of that. So, been focused on that as well. Still not going to the gym with COVID concerns and everything. And I just think everything's going to get worse again in the winter. So I don't want to get used to it and then be like, oh, I got it taken away from me. Like, I'd rather just find a way to enjoy these home workouts. Those are also something that you could find on the Chorn store as well. I've got a whole like workout thing, all the stuff that I have here that I've bought over the years from Amazon in order to like create my own little home gym, whether that's like resistance bands, a Bosu ball, a bench, yoga mat, just some of those essential things to like get active and get training during this time. I think like our community is doing such a good job of taking advantage of this opportunity, and like you can too. You get to train harder than you would if you were competing all the time. At some point in the summer, I almost can't work out. I'm working out like once or twice. A lot of times it's deloaded, meaning not crazy hard. But especially, if I've played 6 tournaments in a row over the weekends, like you're really just trying to recover before the next one. And so a lot of it's recovery based and stuff like that, which is where the supplements come into, or where the stretching comes in and all that stuff. But yeah, that's been, a focus here, and I'm trying to get a little better. If you're looking at me on YouTube, like, that's not horrible. My arm's been smaller, but it's it's getting better. I want to be able to hit the ball harder. I think I'm going to try and level out around like 190 would be great, 188, 190. I want to be leaner because I want to be faster. I want to work on defense a lot more, and I want to come into next year faster. And it's just harder to move 210 pounds around. Not that you can't. You just have to, have that in the right spots. Like you see how fast NFL players are, and they're like 250 pounds of pure muscle. So you don't become muscle bound where you're less speedy, but to some extent with me, I found that I just feel a lot faster when I'm a little bit lighter, and I generate most of my power from whip and not really from mass on my arm, although mass times acceleration is force. So if you want to exert more force on the ball, you got to do one of those things. You got to have more acceleration, or you got to have more mass. So don't ignore the mass. Mass is important too. So yeah, those have been, some of the things that I've been doing during this time. Oh, the other way I'm obviously monetizing through Amazon is Amazon Prime subscriptions on Twitch. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you're an Amazon Prime member, Amazon owns Twitch. So you can link your Amazon Prime account to Twitch, and every single month you get a free subscription. And so subscriptions on Twitch are not the same as on YouTube. They're not free, they're paid, but you get one Prime subscription every single month. You can give it to any content creator that you want every single month. It doesn't automatically renew, but you get one free one. So if you do nothing with it, you just basically are allowing Amazon to keep $5 of yours and not give it to someone for free. So if you like the content that I'm creating, stop by the stream, hang out, tap that button. It does a lot, actually, support wise to do that, instead of asking for people to just donate time and money and all that stuff. So it's something that's literally free and does a lot for the channel. So just wanted to point that out as well. Like, those are ways that you can for sure help everything grow here, and kind of make the idea of being a professional spike baller a reality for me. And with that, my promise is always with this content to deliver value to you. I'm not trying to do this to make $1 zillion. If I was, I would have quit a long time ago. I have constantly had $0 in the bank. I have constantly had debt. I have constantly, I've never just always known that, like, yeah, I'm going to be able to pay rent the whole year. Like, it's always been a stretch. And not being able to work for Spikeball during this time, not being able to do trade shows and go into schools and teach, I don't have my job. So I'm getting by. I'm not overly worried about it, but your support helps. And I want to deliver enough value that you feel like you would want to give some of that back. I want this to be a two-way exchange. I'm not trying to ask you for your money and give you nothing. Like, I want to help make you a better player, and share the journey that I'm on, and to hang out with everyone, and just make some good content that just makes people smile and makes people take the sport a little bit more seriously. So you'll see more of those solutions coming on YouTube, so make sure you go there and subscribe as well. I did the microphone video. I've got another one here where I'm coming up with a solution to your net always moving when you're doing serving practice. I don't know about you, but it is the most frustrating thing in the entire world when I'm trying to do, serves, and I've got 10 balls, and the first one hits rim, and then I got to walk 6 feet and drag it back to its spot, and then walk back, and then I hit a good one, and then I just kind of like lip, and it goes 2 inches back, and then I got to go move it. I hate that. So I am currently recording that right now. I'm kind of taking you through the whole process of discovering solutions in order to do that, and documenting all of that. I'm only using products that you can find on Amazon, and I'm being super cost conscious with it too, because I know that I always buy the cheapest form of everything that I can, as long as the quality isn't complete shit. So being cost conscious with that, and basically what I want to do is be like, hey, if you buy these things and you do this to them, you have a solution. That's the idea. And so then if you buy things through that link, obviously I get a little bit of percentage to it, but again, the main point is just like, let's get some solutions in your guys' hands to train better. It also is a good excuse for me to just improve my thing. Like, I'm trying to build the lab out here, and I want to make it amazing, and I want to share that with you. And I know that some people are going to want that too. They're going to be like, hey, how'd you do that? Well, boom, here's a video. Go look at it. This is exactly how I did it. So that kind of stuff. There's so much more in the pipeline too, that I'm experimenting with. I've got things that I've been buying, because every time I get an idea, I start looking at it, and I've been kind of recording as I go. I've got a whole shelf here of things that I haven't even gotten to touch yet, because I haven't had the time to do that. But those will all start rolling out. I hired Gasaway to edit my last video, which admittedly was, a little on the drier side. I'm kind of learning how to do YouTube and be an animated person. I do that better when I have someone else to feed off of energy-wise, but it's weird for me to sit in front of a camera and talk. So working on that, as it were. So these next ones should be really good. So make sure you go subscribe over there for those. And just in general, the way that the Amazon store things work is that anything that you buy within 24 hours of entering my link into your browser, I also get credit for. So if you're going to go buy something on Amazon and you're like, hey, I'd also like to support Chris in this at no extra cost to me, type in amazon.com/shop/chornspikes and then browse and buy something, and it works. You can do this on mobile. You can do this on PC as well. So so that's basically how I'm looking at monetizing things right now. I'm trying to make it so that basically you guys don't have to dig into your pockets in order to just give me money. It's like something that you would already want to buy, or something that you already have and is basically free to you in order to support. So that's what we're going with for now. Hopefully we'll go with a couple of other things, and hopefully we'll kind of round out some of the finances once we can get back to competing and sponsors become a thing again, because obviously sponsors aren't paying very well this year because I'm not representing them on the court. So that becomes tough. There's some other stuff in the works as well. I don't want to get too much into it. Trust me, I've got like a zillion projects all kind of going at once, and they're all slowly trickling in. And now I've got a dog that takes me away from it. But I'm super happy, and I'm just looking for more ways to connect with everyone. So, feel free to reach out. Instagram's always the best way to get a hold of me. See Chornspikes there, of course. But then, go check out some of the other stuff. You don't have to follow everything I do. Obviously, you're going to see some of the same things on some of the other platforms. But, if your main platforms I use are Instagram and YouTube, go find me there. If you also love Twitch, go check me out there. If you're on your TikTok game, go give me a follow. Share a couple of posts with someone that might want to see it. I'm just trying to have fun with it. But your support obviously encourages that as well, because when you're starting off on this journey, it's a slow, arduous grind, and one that I've signed up for and I'm ready for, but it always feels good to just get something back. So, and I can't tell you how much it means when somebody messages me and just goes like, hey, watch your video, hey, listen to your podcast. This really stood out to me. I thought this was really good. Thank you so much for stepping up and doing content. That's the kind of stuff that just makes my life. Like you can also pay me in just saying how much you honestly enjoyed something. I don't want a bunch of sycophants or anything. You don't have to go out of your way and tell me for everything. But if, I don't know, if something made a difference in your life, like let somebody know. Like pass along positivity at a time like this. It's good stuff. I try to go out of my way to do that to the people that are doing good stuff in the community right now. So yeah, also make sure you go just search like Spikeball in your podcast apps. There's a couple of other ones that are really good right now. Around the Realm is the new one, and obviously HTR is doing their thing as well. How to Roundnet, go follow and subscribe to them as well. Go support content creators right now. It's just a good time to do it, and a lot of those things are free. And then if they have paid things and it's worth it to you, do it. Like that's how we get this community growing outside of just the company. Like our community has to be able to support each other. And we're trying to grow fan bases here. That's what we do. And I want you to be a fan of me, but I also want you to be a fan of, what I actually am giving to you. All right. Enough with that. I've said that like a zillion times. I think that's about it for this one. Let's see how we did on time. All right. We kept it under an hour. I'll call that. I think it's going to end up being about 40 minutes. Obviously, subscribe if this is the first one you're listening to. Go find me on all other channels. Love you guys. You guys are the best. And I think it's about time for my dog to wake up so I can be a little bit louder. I'm gonna wake him up with with my best little let's go here. All right, ready, Sherman? 1, 2, 3. Let's go!